Some betrayals leave scars so deep they change the way you see the world forever. They're not just painful, they're transformative. In the teachings of Stoic philosophy, where inner strength, clarity, and self-respect are non-negotiable, there are certain acts that go far beyond forgiveness. Not because we hold grudges, but because some lines, once crossed, destroy the very foundation of trust, honor, and integrity that real relationships are built upon. When someone you've confided in, someone you've trusted with your heart, your hopes, and your vulnerabilities, turns on you, the damage runs deeper than the moment. It challenges your ability to trust again. It shakes your belief in your own judgment, and most dangerously, it can begin to erode your self-worth. Forgiveness may be seen as noble, but when it comes at the cost of your peace and dignity, it becomes a form of self-betrayal. That is not what Stoicism teaches. Stoicism demands we face reality with clear eyes, not wishful thinking. And part of that reality is learning when to let go, when to walk away, and when to never look back. Some betrayals aren't just mistakes. They're messages, warnings, red flags that must not be ignored. In this video, we'll break down 5 betrayals in relationships that should never be forgiven. These are not small missteps or misunderstandings. These are calculated actions that damage your trust, your loyalty, and your very sense of self. If you value emotional resilience and personal peace, these are lessons you must carry with you. And before we begin, a small favor. If you find value in what we're sharing, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button. It's free, and it helps this message reach more people like you. And whatever you do, don't skip around. Every section of this video contains insights that can truly reshape the way you see relationships and protect your inner calm. Let's begin. 1. Disloyalty. The ultimate violation of trust. Disloyalty is not just a simple misstep, it's the collapse of everything sacred between two people. It is the moment when someone makes a conscious decision to abandon the values they once claimed to uphold. In a Stoic life, loyalty is not just a virtue, it is the very lifeline of any meaningful relationship. It anchors our connections in a world full of shifting sands. Without loyalty, nothing holds, not trust, not consistency, not love. When someone breaks that loyalty, they aren't just making a poor choice, they are revealing who they really are underneath the surface. Loyalty is about more than words. It's about what someone does when your back is turned, when no one is watching, when they have every opportunity to choose selfishness but choose integrity instead. True loyalty stands firm even when it's inconvenient. It resists the temptation to gossip, to betray, to walk away when things get hard. It's easy to smile and be kind when everything is good. But real loyalty is proven when it costs something, when staying faithful demands sacrifice. That is where character is tested. And sadly, it's where many people fail. When someone betrays your trust through disloyalty, they're making a very specific statement, that their desires, impulses, or ambitions matter more than their commitment to you. This could be a partner who cheats, a friend who betrays your secrets, or a colleague who undermines you for personal gain. Regardless of the form it takes, disloyalty is a declaration. It declares that your trust was never valued, that your connection was conditional, and that your vulnerability was disposable. The Stoics teach us not to be shocked by the behavior of others. People will act according to their nature, and when someone reveals a disloyal nature, our duty isn't to argue, plead, or try to fix them. It's to accept what they've shown us and move forward with clarity. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy, and in that wisdom lies your greatest power. You do not have to stoop to their level, retaliate, or explain yourself. You simply walk away, calm, firm, and with your dignity intact. There will always be people who betray and then return with excuses. They will say they didn't mean to. They'll blame the situation. They'll say you misunderstood. And they may even cry or apologize with great theatrics. But remember, repeated disloyalty is not an accident. It's a pattern. It's who they are. And if you accept them back, you are not being compassionate. You are being complicit. You're telling them, through your actions, that you are willing to tolerate being treated that way again. That you'll trade your peace for their presence. And that is a betrayal of yourself. Forgiving this kind of betrayal sends a dangerous message, not only to them but to your own subconscious. It teaches you that your boundaries can be crossed without consequence, that loyalty is optional, that you can be mistreated and still remain. But Stoicism calls us to a higher standard, a standard of inner strength, emotional discipline, and unwavering self-respect. It calls us to protect our peace even if it means letting go of people we once loved. Some will say, but we've been through so much together, or they were always there for me in the past. And that may be true. But history does not excuse harm. The past does not erase the present truth. Someone's previous loyalty does not cancel out their current betrayal, and Stoicism teaches us to live according to what is, not what was. If someone has proven their disloyalty, you owe them nothing, not even an explanation. Your only duty is to walk away with grace. Seneca once advised, associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. This means surrounding yourself with people who bring out your best, not those who weaken your spirit. Loyalty is about consistency. It's about being someone others can count on even when life is hard, and it's about holding others to that same standard. If someone only stands beside you when it benefits them, they are not loyal, they are opportunistic. And if you excuse their betrayal, you invite more of the same into your life. Walking away from someone you love can be one of the hardest things you'll ever do. But holding on to someone who has already let go of you is far worse. It drains your energy, your peace, and your self-worth, and it keeps you from making space for people who are actually worthy of your trust. The Stoic path is not about clinging to pain, it is about clarity. It's about seeing things as they are and then acting with wisdom and courage. Disloyalty is a flashing red warning light. It tells you everything you need to know about someone's values, and if you continue to allow someone like that into your life, the pain you feel next time is no longer on them, it's on you, because the lesson was already there. Stoicism does not call us to bitterness or revenge, it calls us to strength, and that strength is most visible when you decide you will never again make room in your life for someone who has proven they can't be trusted. The greatest act of self-respect is not a loud confrontation. It's not a dramatic goodbye. It's a quiet decision that you deserve better, and then choosing to live that truth without apology. Let others question why you walked away. Let them rewrite the story if they need to. What matters is that you remain loyal to the one person who truly needs it, you. Because at the end of the day, loyalty to yourself is the foundation of every other relationship that matters. Never forget, forgiving disloyalty may sound compassionate, but it can be a silent form of self-abandonment. And no relationship, no matter how long it lasted or how intense it felt, is worth the price of your self-worth. 2. Deception. The poison that destroys relationships. Deception is not just about hiding the truth, it's about distorting reality. And once someone chooses to lie to you, they are no longer just making a personal decision. They are making a deliberate attempt to control your perception of the world. Lies are not harmless, they are corrosive. They eat away at the very foundation of trust, one crack at a time, until what once felt safe and steady becomes unstable and hollow. In Stoic philosophy, where clarity and truth are essential to inner peace, deception is not just damaging, it's unacceptable. Think about it. Every lie is a choice. A moment where someone could have been honest, could have respected your right to know the truth, but didn't. They chose to manipulate instead of communicate. And in doing so, they revealed how little they value your trust. That is the brutal reality Stoicism demands we face. The person who lies to you is not just someone who made a mistake. They are someone who believed, in that moment, that their comfort mattered more than your clarity, that their agenda mattered more than your emotional safety. One of the most dangerous things about deception is how subtle it can be. It often starts small, a minor detail left out, a half-truth, a story told with just enough distortion to sound believable. But lies are rarely isolated. Once someone gets used to bending reality, it becomes a habit, a lifestyle, a mask they wear to hide their weaknesses, their failures, their selfish motives. And the longer you allow them to lie to you, the more you start questioning yourself, your instincts, your memory, your sanity. That's what makes deception so toxic. It doesn't just harm the relationship, it undermines your own sense of truth. Stoicism teaches us that honesty is the foundation of personal peace. You cannot be mentally clear or emotionally steady while living in someone else's illusion. Seneca wrote, "A dishonest man spreads falsehoods first to others, then to himself." Eventually, even the liar forgets what's real. But that doesn't mean you should suffer the consequences of their confusion. You are not responsible for fixing someone who has chosen to be deceptive. You are responsible for protecting your own clarity, and sometimes that means removing yourself from the relationship entirely. Deception isn't just about lies, it's about control. When someone deceives you, they are trying to write your reality for you. They are deciding what you should know, how you should feel, and how much of the truth you're allowed to see. That is not love, oh, that is not respect. That is manipulation, and it should never be tolerated, no matter how small the lie seems on the surface, because behind every little lie is a deeper willingness to break your trust when it's convenient. People often say, "Everyone lies," or "It was just a white lie," or "I didn't want to hurt you." But that's not Stoic thinking, that's emotional laziness. Stoicism does not allow for moral shortcuts. A lie, no matter how small, signals that someone is not willing to stand in truth with you. And if they're not willing to do that, how can any bond with them truly be stable? A relationship built on lies is like a house built on sand. It will crumble the moment life shakes it. And what happens when you forgive deception without consequences? You teach the liar that they can continue, that you'll keep showing up, that they can shape your reality to their advantage and you'll accept it. But you deserve better. You deserve relationships built on mutual truth, not constant doubt. You deserve to feel secure in what people tell you, not anxious about what they're hiding. The Stoic response to deception is not revenge or anger, it is detachment. You don't waste your energy decoding someone else's lies or trying to figure out what's true. You don't beg for honesty from someone who has already proven they can't give it. You simply accept the reality, this person is not safe to trust. And then you walk away, quietly, firmly, and with full clarity. There's a powerful quote from Epictetus that says, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows," and that applies perfectly to the deceiver. Someone who lives in lies believes they've already got things figured out. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want to grow. They want to remain in control of their story, even if it means hurting you in the process. You cannot teach them truth. You cannot force them to be honest. But you can refuse to play their game. Choosing to leave a deceptive relationship is not an act of weakness. It is a profound act of strength. It means you trust yourself. It means you are unwilling to trade your peace for someone else's illusion. And it means you understand this truth. Your inner clarity is more valuable than any relationship built on falsehoods. Deception is a betrayal of trust, and trust once broken is nearly impossible to restore to its original state, even if they apologize, even if they beg, even if they claim they'll never do it again. The crack has been made, and no matter how much you patch it, the fracture remains. That doesn't mean you hate them. It doesn't mean you carry bitterness. It means you accept reality and honor yourself enough to walk away. Forgiveness is powerful, but only when it serves your growth. Forgiving someone who continues to lie is not strength. It's self-sabotage. It invites more deception. It blurs your boundaries. And it tells your subconscious that honesty is optional in your life. But you are not here to be deceived. You are here to live in truth, to speak truth, and to surround yourself with people who do the same. Let others say what they want. Let the deceiver rewrite the story. But you, stay committed to clarity, because clarity brings calm, and no relationship is worth sacrificing that. 3. Broken trust, the irreparable damage that ends all bonds. Trust is the invisible thread that holds every relationship together. It is delicate, essential, and once broken, almost impossible to fully repair. In Stoic philosophy, trust is not taken lightly, because once it's shattered, so is the relationship that was built upon it. Broken trust doesn't just damage your connection with another person, it dismantles the emotional foundation you both relied on. And the harsh truth is this: once someone breaks your trust, things can never return to the way they were. Many people make the mistake of believing that trust can be fully rebuilt, that time will heal everything, and that if someone apologizes sincerely enough, everything will go back to normal. But the Stoic view teaches otherwise. It teaches us to observe reality without illusion, to understand that while wounds may close, the scar remains. When someone breaks your trust, it changes you. It changes how you see them, how you see yourself, and how you move forward, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. Trust is not just about honesty, it's about reliability, consistency, and integrity. When you trust someone, You give them access to your vulnerabilities, your secrets, your insecurities, your true self. You open the door and let them into a space most people never get to see. And when that trust is betrayed, the pain is not just emotional, it's spiritual. It leaves you questioning everything. Was any of it real? Did they ever care? How could they do this? In those moments, it's easy to spiral into self-blame, to ask, was I not enough? Or did I miss the signs? But a Stoic knows the answer is not to internalize the betrayal, but to recognize the choice that was made by the other person. They chose to betray. They chose to act in a way that disrespected your trust, and no amount of regret from them can undo that choice. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When someone has done you wrong, do not dwell on what they have done, but on what you can do in response." That is the key to healing. Your power lies not in changing the betrayer, but in protecting your own peace moving forward. It's not about making them feel guilty. It's about reclaiming your emotional sovereignty. The idea that trust once broken can be completely restored is comforting, but it's often a trap. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of hoping, waiting, and giving more chances to someone who has already proven they can hurt you. And the mental toll that takes is heavy. You start overanalyzing every word, second-guessing every moment, questioning every silence. Even if they promise to change, even if they say all the right things, that seed of doubt has been planted and it doesn't go away easily. Would you drink from a poisoned well just because someone promised the water is clean now? Would you rebuild your home on a foundation you know is cracked? Trust, like a mirror, once shattered, may be pieced together, but it will never be whole again. There will always be cracks, places where the light gets distorted, and pretending those cracks don't exist only sets you up for deeper disappointment in the future. Broken trust is not just a one-time mistake, it is often a revelation. It shows you what someone is truly capable of. And once you see that clearly, the question becomes, do you want to keep someone in your life who is willing to betray you? Even if they regret it, even if they apologize, even if they say they'll never do it again. The Stoic answer is grounded in self-respect. If they broke your trust once, they have already shown you how little they value the relationship. Some people will tell you to forgive and forget, to give them another chance, to believe in redemption. But Stoicism is not about blind forgiveness. It's about wise boundaries. It's about seeing human nature as it is, not as we wish it to be. And the reality is this: some people only regret the consequences of their betrayal, not the betrayal itself. They miss the benefits of being close to you, not because they value you, but because they value what you gave them. Seneca wrote, "He who spares the guilty punishes the innocent." In other words, when you forgive someone who has truly broken your trust, you may think you're being kind, but in reality you are betraying your future self. You are making it easier for them to do it again. You are sacrificing your emotional stability for the illusion of connection. So what is the Stoic response to broken trust? It's not anger, it's not revenge, it's not endless discussions or dramatic exits. It's quiet, powerful detachment. It's the decision to remove what no longer serves your peace. To honor yourself enough to walk away, not because you want to hurt them, but because you refuse to be hurt again. It is an act of clarity, of strength, of true self-loyalty. Letting go of someone who betrayed your trust does not make you cold. It makes you wise. It means you are no longer willing to carry the burden of someone else's poor decisions. It means you have chosen peace over chaos, dignity over drama, and growth over stagnation. Yes, betrayal is painful, but pretending it didn't happen is even more damaging. The moment someone breaks your trust, they show you the truth. Don't ignore that truth. Don't minimize it. And don't let nostalgia convince you to stay where your soul has been wounded. The strongest decision you can make is to protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. And the moment you realize someone can no longer be trusted is the moment you're called to choose yourself. 4. Manipulation. When control replaces respect. Manipulation is one of the most insidious forms of betrayal. Unlike outright lies or open acts of disloyalty, it's often subtle, calculated, and disguised as care, concern, or even love. It doesn't come with flashing warnings. It creeps in slowly, reshaping your sense of reality without you even noticing. And that's what makes it so dangerous. Because manipulation doesn't just betray your trust, it attempts to replace your judgment with theirs. It robs you of your autonomy while convincing you that you're still in control. In a Stoic life, the ultimate power lies in self-governance, ruling your emotions, choosing your thoughts, and standing firm in your values. But manipulation seeks to disrupt all of that. It's not just about influencing behavior, it's about bending your will. The manipulator doesn't want a relationship based on mutual respect. They want dominance disguised as closeness. They don't want to walk beside you. They want to steer your direction without ever appearing to do so. And what makes it even more deceptive is that manipulators often use your empathy against you. They play the victim to make you feel guilty. They withhold affection to make you chase their approval. They twist your words, your reactions, even your instincts until you begin to question yourself. And the more you question yourself, the more control they gain. What started as a partnership becomes a power imbalance. What looked like love becomes emotional servitude. But Stoicism teaches us to be fiercely aware of our internal state. It trains us to ask, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? Who benefits from this emotion being stirred in me? When you feel guilt, confusion, or self-doubt in a relationship without clear cause, it's often because someone is subtly guiding your emotions for their own benefit. That is manipulation in its purest form. And no matter how gentle it seems, it is still a betrayal. The manipulator wants to live rent-free in your mind. They want you constantly seeking their validation, constantly wondering what they think, constantly adjusting your behavior to avoid their disapproval. And the longer this goes on, the more disconnected you become from your own values, your own clarity, your own voice. It's as if someone has rewritten your internal compass, and now you're lost, chasing their approval while forgetting who you are. A Stoic knows this cannot be allowed. Epictetus taught that we must never surrender our reason to another person's control. Your peace, your self-command, is not a bargaining chip. It is your anchor. And the moment someone tries to pull you away from that anchor with emotional tricks, you must recognize what's happening and reclaim your center. Manipulators often masquerade as caring partners, supportive friends, or well-meaning mentors. They cloak their control in affection. They make you feel special, chosen, even needed, but only as long as you comply. The moment you assert yourself, the moment you say no, their tone changes. They become cold, critical, or distant. They may punish you with silence or guilt, trip you into submission. This is not love. This is not respect. This is a game of control. And the longer you allow it to continue, the more damage it causes, not just to your relationship with them, but to your relationship with yourself. You stop trusting your gut. You silence your voice, you suppress your needs, and eventually you begin to accept the unacceptable. That is why manipulation must be recognized as betrayal. Because it doesn't just harm you, it changes you. Many people stay in manipulative relationships far too long because they fear confrontation or they cling to hope. They think, maybe they didn't mean it, or maybe I'm being too sensitive. But a Stoic knows better. A Stoic observes patterns, not promises, and the pattern of manipulation is consistent. It demands more and gives less. It thrives on your confusion. And it crumbles the moment you draw a boundary. That's why the Stoic response to manipulation is not emotional outrage, it's quiet clarity. You don't need to win an argument. You don't need to prove your point. You simply see what is happening and you choose to detach. Not with anger, but with strength. Because when someone is trying to manipulate you, what they fear most is your clarity. When you are clear, they lose control. When you stop playing their game, they lose their power. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is a slave to his emotions." But I would add, no man is free who allows others to pull the strings of his emotions. To be free is to know where you stand, to speak your truth, and to walk away from anything that compromises your inner peace. Some may say, but they've done so much for me, or their family, or they love me in their own way. But love without respect is not love. And help that comes with control is not generosity, it's leverage. If someone supports you only to later control you, that support was never genuine, it was a transaction. And in a Stoic life, where freedom of the soul is paramount, such transactions are unacceptable. Manipulation is betrayal wrapped in flattery. It is the soft poison that dulls your instincts and makes you doubt your own truth. But once you see it clearly, you can never unsee it. And that is your moment of power. The moment you choose to step away, not because you hate the person, but because you love yourself enough to no longer be controlled. So if you're in a relationship, romantic, familial, or professional, where you feel constantly confused, obligated, or emotionally cornered, pause and ask yourself, am I being manipulated? Is my peace being sacrificed for someone else's control? And if the answer is yes, then the Stoic path is clear. You do not confront. You do not plead. You simply walk away. Calm, clear, free. Because in the end, the only relationships worth keeping are those built on mutual respect, not invisible chains. And anyone who tries to control you emotionally or mentally has already betrayed you in a way that should never be forgiven. 5. Repeated disrespect, the betrayal that erodes your self-worth. Disrespect doesn't always arrive with loud insults or blatant hostility. Sometimes it sneaks in through silence, through dismissive gestures, through subtle eye rolls or jokes made at your expense. It creeps into your daily interactions like a slow drip of poison, barely noticeable at first, but deeply destructive over time. Repeated disrespect is a betrayal that cuts deeper than people realize because it doesn't just harm your relationship with others, it erodes your relationship with yourself, and that is why it should never be forgiven. In Stoic philosophy, respect is not a luxury. It's a standard. It's not something you beg for or negotiate. It is the natural result of self-discipline, integrity, and honor. And those who lack it, especially those closest to you, are not just failing in manners. They are violating the principles that sustain your inner peace. When someone disrespects you once, it may be a mistake. But when they do it again and again, it's a choice. A reflection of how little they value you and how much they expect you to tolerate. You see, every time you allow someone to speak to you with contempt, every time you let them ignore your boundaries, every time you overlook their careless words or arrogant tone, you are sending a message, not just to them, but to yourself. And the message is, this is acceptable. I will allow this. The Stoics teach us to be indifferent to insults from strangers, but not from those who claim to care. Because there's a difference between external noise and intimate betrayal. Respect at its core is about recognition. It means seeing the value in another person, their time, their thoughts, their emotions, and honoring that. So when someone repeatedly disrespects you, they are telling you they do not see your value. They see you as someone to be corrected, mocked, or ignored. And the more you excuse it, the more they believe they're right. One of the most subtle forms of repeated disrespect is when your voice is constantly dismissed. You speak your mind, but it's met with indifference. You express a concern, but it's brushed aside. You share your feelings, but they're minimized or used against you later. This is not just a lack of listening, it's a refusal to acknowledge your existence in the conversation. And when someone makes a habit of ignoring your truth, they are not just being rude, they are waging a slow war against your self-worth. Another common form of disrespect is emotional inconsistency. When someone constantly shifts how they treat you. One day they're warm, the next they're cold. One moment they're supportive, the next they're sarcastic or distant. This hot and cold dynamic may seem confusing, but it's actually a tactic, conscious or not, that keeps you off balance and makes you more compliant. You start walking on eggshells, adjusting your behavior to avoid triggering their next reaction. But this is not love. This is not friendship. This is control through disrespect. The Stoics remind us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can absolutely control our response. And the appropriate response to repeated disrespect is not tolerance. It is not passive silence. It is not hoping they'll change. It is distance, boundaries, clarity. The decision to no longer allow someone into your inner circle who repeatedly treats you as if you don't matter. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." In the same way, it is not the person who receives less respect who suffers most. It is the one who craves it from the wrong people. If you find yourself constantly chasing validation, constantly trying to prove your worth to someone who continues to dismiss or diminish you, ask yourself, what am I truly gaining here? What am I trading away just to stay connected? Respect must be mutual. That is non-negotiable. And the moment it becomes one-sided, the relationship is no longer balanced. It becomes a performance. One person gives, the other takes. One apologizes, the other criticizes. One hopes, the other manipulates. And you deserve better than that. Not because of ego, but because of dignity. Because a Stoic does not seek approval from others, they stand tall in their own value. Many people confuse forgiveness with endurance. They think being Stoic means tolerating mistreatment, turning the other cheek endlessly, or staying calm while being emotionally battered. But that is not Stoicism, that is submission. A true Stoic draws strength from principle, not passivity. And when someone crosses the line again and again, your calm must become action. your silence must become space. Your wisdom must become a wall between their disrespect and your peace. Let's be clear. People make mistakes. Everyone has moments of frustration, thoughtlessness, or carelessness. But when someone repeatedly chooses disrespect despite your clear boundaries, despite your conversations, despite your efforts, they are no longer making mistakes. They are making statements, and the statement is, you don't matter enough to be treated better. That is a betrayal that can't be brushed aside, because if you forgive it once, it becomes easier to forgive it again. And eventually, you lose track of what you deserve. You begin shrinking yourself, doubting your instincts, questioning your standards. That is not humility. That is erosion. And Stoicism teaches us to build ourselves up, not break ourselves down for the comfort of others. So if someone in your life continually disrespects your time, your voice, your values, no matter who they are, no matter how long they've been in your life, it's time to step back. Not out of spite, not out of rage, but out of self-respect. Because every time you choose to stay silent in the face of disrespect, you make it louder. And every time you choose to walk away, you make your worth undeniable. You don't need to argue, you don't need to explain, you don't need to fix them. You only need to remember this. The person who repeatedly disrespects you is already showing you their character. Your only responsibility is to believe them and act accordingly. You've just journeyed through the quiet war we all face, the hidden battles of betrayal that test our self-worth, our boundaries, and our peace. The 5 betrayals we explored aren't small wounds, they're signals, warnings, that someone is not aligned with the respect and truth you deserve. Stoicism teaches us to see clearly and act with courage. Some betrayals, like disloyalty, deception, broken trust, manipulation, and repeated disrespect, should never be forgiven, not out of anger, but out of wisdom. You protect your peace not by holding on, but by letting go of what no longer honors you. If today's message spoke to you, support our channel, Deep Dive Stoic, by subscribing and sharing this video. It helps spread the strength and clarity we all need more of. Thank you for walking this path with us. Stay mindful, stay steady, and no matter what the world throws your way, stay stoic.